Griffin? Griffin.
Malcolm McDowell.
Hi, how are you?
Just here.
Listen, the next time you want to badmouth me, have the courage to do it to my face. You guys are all the same.
When The Player was released in 1992, it was widely received as Robert Altman's comeback film, in part because it was a return to cinema as a medium rather than television, and it earned him an Oscar nomination for Best Director the next year. The Player can also be seen as a comeback, though, as a film which returned to Altman's engagement with traditional Hollywood genres. Ever since his emergence in the 1970s as part of the Hollywood Renaissance, there's no director who has been more interesting in his exploration of genre than Robert Altman. Starting with MASH in 1970, which is an irreverent treatment of the Hollywood war film, Altman goes on to work his way through all of the major genres that we associate with the classical Hollywood period. This includes westerns like McCabe and Mrs. Miller and Buffalo Bill and the Indians, a detective film in The Long Goodbye, but probably the most famous genre experiment for Altman during the 1970s is his rather unconventional approach to the musical. Nashville is a film in which he cast a lot of actors who are not particularly known as musicians in prime singing roles as country and western music stars. And he even involved them in the songwriting process, which was a rather unusual step. Altman loves to have fun and play with our expectations by revising and reworking things that would otherwise seem to be familiar aspects of genre. In The Player, we see Altman continuing to play with those conventions, but in this case, he approaches it by really melding together two different traditions we associate with Hollywood cinema. One of those has to do with films that are about the filmmaking process itself. But there is another genre at work here as well, and that is the Hollywood crime film. Those two genres, when they are blended together, inform and bounce off one another in very interesting ways, much the same way that Altman felt like Long Goodbye was comedy in the disguise of a detective film. Here we have a comedy about industry politics that's in the disguise of a crime film.
Let's let the studio buy us a drink.
Well, if you don't mind a place where you don't have any suck with the maitre d', I know a bar down the street.
Let's go.